Hello, I'm Phil Svitek, 360 Creative Coach, and welcome to my blog, where normally it is my pleasure and mission to highlight my creative journey, to highlight the obstacles and extract the various takeaways that I learned from that, so you can take those strategies and apply them to your life, and also ideally provide you with some inspiration for your own creative journey. Now, I say that because that's normally what happens. But as of last Thursday, one of my dogs, I have two dogs. Well, you can kind of see where this is going. I had two dogs, Sparky and Chloe. And Sparky, unfortunately, as of last Thursday, passed away. If you would like to see a picture of him, you can go on my Instagram. Very sweet, black German Shepherd. And, it was sudden. For those listening, he was about 14 and a half. I don't know exactly, simply because he was a rescue and there wasn't much information about him. And what's unfortunate is that in labs and German Shepherds, especially at an older age, their spleen, their liver, their stomach can rupture and they bleed out. I apologize for the graphic nature of it. I'm just simply saying that to inform you if you have a pet, so you can kind of be aware of this. By the time, Sparky was looking very melancholy last Thursday, and then eventually he started looking pale, and I've never seen a dog go pale. So, I called the vet, and they didn't have appointments because of COVID, but they said, you can do a walk-in. And a couple of minutes go by, and I'm just like, you know what? I gotta try. I gotta, he doesn't look good. I gotta get him to the vet. So I go there, and luckily they took him in right away. But the thing is, once they came out for him, Sparky couldn't even stand, and we had to put him on a gurney. And I've been here more times than I like to admit, but he gave me the look. And the look is very much, I'm done here. And so as they're wheeling him, the nurse, she's trying to, do what she can. And of course, it's one of those things like they have to confirm that, yes, I'm willing to pay for what, basically an emergency examination, and for them to basically do whatever they need to do in order to save his life. And I said, of course, don't worry about that. Just get him what he needs. But in my heart of hearts, I knew. And 10 minutes later, I get the call that there's nothing that can be done. So, and it sucks, the thing of it is, what you ultimately kind of like, it's one of those things when you have an older dog, especially like, as made mention, a German Shepherd, a Lab, you should really kind of be doing full scans of these things, once every 6 months. But obviously that's costly. And even then, to put a dog of that age into surgery with anesthesia, nothing's guaranteed, right? So it sucks. It really does, right? And one of the things that I look to is at least he didn't suffer. I mean, he suffered. I take that back. He did suffer, but it wasn't that long, right? His pain wasn't elongated. And as someone who's worked in hospice, I have seen situations where people can sometimes be selfish and try to prolong someone else's life in spite of the pain that person feels. Sometimes in my mind, allowing someone to pass is the noble thing. Not always. Listen, it's a tough call to make, but for me, at least in terms of dogs. I saw it with my dog Buzz, and I've seen it with a dog named Boomer as well. And so I kind of know that look. And other people that are dog owners that I've talked to, they've also seen the look, and you just kind of know it. I don't know how to describe it other than, in some sense, it's a quick glance, it's a quick acknowledgement, eye to eye, of like, this is it. And it's, it sucks in all aspects, right? I am not saying my pain is more or less than anyone else's, especially in 2020. But in terms of the lessons, it's one of those things that sucks, unfortunately, that any pain of any loss is confirmation that it was meaningful. And I really, as fucked up as it may be, I kind of find solace in that, because I would, the pain sucks, but I wouldn't take any of it back. I had Sparky 8 in some years, maybe, give or take. I'm not exactly, I'd have to look at like exactly when he was adopted and all that stuff, whatever else. But let's say 8 and change. And the impact he's had on my life is tremendous. And the impact he had on other people's lives is tremendous as well. I posted about it, I called people, and, while they're wishing me well and things of that nature, I also know that it also comes, it's not necessarily just about me, it's the fact that Sparky, in however many interactions, even if it was just one time for 5 minutes, had a profound effect on the person. And that's really incredible, because too often, and I've talked about this before, but now I want to really reiterate it, we talk about the length of life, how long someone lives. This person lived to be 80, this person lived to be 90. We wish upon ourselves, I want to live to be 100. And that's all well and good, but for what? Less so than the length of life, I'm more interested in the width of life, meaning the impact you have. And the fact that this dog had a profound impact on people just by being present and having an open heart, there's a lesson in that we can all learn, including myself. And that's how you have an impact. And too many people I know want to, they want to have meaning to their life, and they're trying desperately every which way to go about it. And it's like, you know what? Just be present and have an open heart. And that's how you have an impact. But too often we're working on our resume values and not our eulogy values. And the impact the person has on someone, that's a eulogy value. What you put, the skill you learn, because it can help you do more work, that's a resume value. And we overemphasize resume values. But going back to this idea that the pain is confirmation of something meaningful, this applies to many things. It can apply to people. It can apply to relationships. It can apply to pets. Heck, it can apply to even creative projects, because I know too many people that say, oh, I don't want to get a pet because of the pain. I want to go through the pain. I don't want to get into a new relationship because of the pain. I don't want to start something because, what if I fail? Well, that hints at pain, right? And it's like, okay, well, then you're not really living. Because to live is to have this full range of emotion, and it is to open yourself up to having pain. But again, the pain is just confirmation that what you were doing was worthwhile and it meant something. So whether it is a pet, a relationship, a project, whatever it may be, the pain is just confirmation of that. And it sucks. Listen, I'm not saying I want you to go through the pain and so forth. I don't want to go through the pain and whatnot. But again, I would not take back a single second with Sparky. It speaks to one of Don Miguel Ruiz's principles, or agreements as he calls them, that to always do your best. Your best is going to be subjective from time to time, meaning, when you're well rested and, exercised and have been eating really well, then your best is going to be really top notch. But then, you might have days where you haven't been sleeping and things like that, and you're not going to be at your optimal, but you can still try your best even in that moment. And when you try your best, you can't really have regrets. And so I think that's a very powerful lesson in terms of how to approach life, because, as far as Sparky's concerned, I always did do my best. And he certainly did his best with me. And I don't take that for granted, Were we always at our most ideal? No. But we did our best. And, when I feel the pain, I look to the memories. And a lot of wonderful memories. And he'd been, in the eight years plus that he's been with me, so much has changed in my life. And therefore, so much has changed in his life. And he's been there for that. And, one of the things, however you want to interpret it, I think is ultimately up to you. But I went to Seattle in October to be with my mom, and I took the dogs up, right? Chloe and Sparky. And, my mom got to spend 2 weeks with both of them. And by extension, Sparky got to spend 2 weeks with my mom. And he got to see nature and mountains and forests and all that. And it was really wonderful. And even just, as recently as the week prior, the Friday before, I'd gone down to my friend James Lott Jr. to gift him a plant. And I brought the dogs. And Sparky kept licking James's left foot. Right foot. Not the left foot, just the right foot. Because he was wearing flip-flops, and it was just a funny thing, and he just wouldn't stop licking James's foot, right foot. And it's something that James and I can joke about, but, and James is someone who has tremendous importance in my life, but he'd never met Sparky or Chloe. But he did then. And so, it's kind of this culmination, these things, Sparky lived out his life to that extent. He got to do all the things that I guess he needed to. Perhaps the wrong way of saying it, but, and also in a fucked up way, I feel like he picked his day. Meaning Monday through Wednesday were very, very packed in terms of work for me. Thursday was not. Thursday was a very light day for me. So he picked the day that he wanted to pass. He's like, now you don't have anything going on, so now's my day to go. It also happened to be Katie Campbell's half birthday. And, while I'm not someone who believes in half birthdays much and things like that, there are people in my life, whether Roxy Stryer or Katie Campbell, who tend to celebrate their half birthdays. Nothing wrong with it, it's just I don't. I don't put that much value in it. But Katie Campbell, the reason I say this, is someone who absolutely adored Sparky, and he loved her. He really did. And so, to what extent I draw, or you draw meaning into that idea that, he passed away on Katie Campbell's half birthday, it's like, okay, it could be a complete coincidence, but why not think of it as something a little bit more beautiful than that, right? What harm does it do ultimately? I'm not delusional about it, but there's something poetic to it. And she finds meaning in it, and so do I. So why not? And listen, it sucks. I wanted to spend the holidays with my dogs, especially in 2020, where I'm not going to really see others not gonna get, I didn't get to spend Thanksgiving with my mom. Not gonna get to spend Christmas with her either. So I wanted to spend it with my dogs, and I kind of made like a silent vow at the beginning of the pandemic. I said, as long as I have my dogs, I can get through anything. And it's like, now what? But a very underrated movie, in my opinion, is Patch Adams. Patch Adams, in the movie, he was played by Robin Williams. I think it's a phenomenal movie, and forgive me for spoiling it if you've never seen it, but still worth watching, even as I'm about to spoil it for you. Patch is someone who believed in this principle that you treat a disease, you win, you lose, but if you treat the patient, you will win no matter what. Now, that belief is very easy to believe when things don't get tough. And let's say 3/4 of the movie in, the love of his life dies, per his own words in the movie, because he taught her the medicine that killed her. In the movie, she has an inkling about this patient that he's a little off and he's a little dangerous. But Patch didn't see it, and one night when this patient says he's in pain and could use someone coming over, she goes, because that's what Patch has taught her to do. And the man kills her and then kills himself. And it's like, it's almost like the universe saying, now what, motherfucker? It's easy to believe what you believe when you don't have the pain, but now what? The person you loved is dead because of everything that you believed. And Patch does challenge God, but then something beautiful happens. And in spite of it, as Patch in the movie kind of says, because of this, I've lost everything, but I've also gained everything. And so I look at that for me of, with everything that I teach, it's like, okay, it's easy to talk about these things, but now you suffer the loss of, Sparky, who, as I made mention, I made a silent vow that I could get through the pandemic as long as I have my 2 dogs. Now I don't have my 2 dogs, I just have 1 dog. Now what, motherfucker? Right? That's what the universe seems to be saying. And I've got to follow my convictions, not because I'm trying to prove anything to the world, but because in my heart of hearts, I know that's the right thing. And so for me, the things I'm thinking, I thank God I have Chloe, and we, we're now going to spend a lot more time, I'm taking her to see new things, so that way she doesn't feel the pain of this. I bought a backpack carrier so I can take her on bike rides and she'll be in the backpack, and it's a backpack designed for exactly this, for dogs. So that'll be fun. I'm debating fostering a dog. I don't think I'm ready to have a second dog, not because of the pain or whatever, but just logistics and so forth. But I feel like I could foster a dog and help. So I'm debating that. And I'm telling anyone, in my own life, that's like, hey, what can I do? I say, if you have a fur animal, hug them extra. If you don't have one and you've been thinking about it, don't blindly do it. If you can't, but if you can and you've always wanted to, then adopt. Adopt an animal, or at the very least donate. That's what I say. And in that regard, as we kind of come to the end of the year, I think I've decided to take the next few weeks off. I might do a lesson here or there, but I think for the most part, I'm gonna spend time really with Chloe and so forth, and just allow the grievance process to take place. And so, I'll probably pick back up sometime in the new year in terms of doing lessons and blogs and so forth. I apologize if you expected me to be here, but as I said, the one good thing about all this is, well, there's plenty of past episodes that you can revisit. that are equally as meaningful today as they were when I recorded them. But also, we're humans first, and if in that sense, I have to practice what I preach. And so, I'm going to take the time off for me, and as much as I want to be there for you, I can't be there for you in the best way if I'm not the best that I can be, and, sure, you could say, like I just talked about, we can always do our best even when we're not at our ideal, but this is a little bit different, This is just needing, we all need a vacation, a break, and an escape. An escape to me is different than a distraction. Escape is also processing the lessons. And so that's what I'm going to take, for a certain amount of time. As I said, I don't have a definite date of when I'm coming back, but, nonetheless, certainly in the new year, I will be back in full force. I'm excited to do more lessons. Thank you. I know 2020 is hard. It has been hard. It continues to be hard. But from the bottom of my heart, I do love you, and, I thank you for allowing me to share my pain. I know there is pain in your life. I'm not trying to compare. And so this is just my version of it, and know that my heart is with you in your pain. Thank you. And again, I love you.